Well, welcome back, everyone. We have the famous Lindsey Gallagher in. She's a naturalist with Johnny Appleseed Metro Park District. And today we're going to be talking about snakes.
Oh, I love it, Chris. Well, good morning. Thank you for welcoming me on. And thank you for welcoming this gorgeous guy back to the studio. I know you've seen him before.
Yeah.
Folks at home have probably seen him, recognized him around the Park District. This is our gray rat snake animal ambassador. He's an example of a local and native snake here to Ohio and Allen County. And yes, I think snakes are terrific, but today we're going to talk about how sensational they are. We're going to discuss snakes' senses. Now, snakes are animals, and they have to interpret and interact with their environment just like you and I do. So we have 5 senses, and snakes have senses as well. So I'll ask you first, what are our 5 senses?
Well, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. What else am I missing?
Oh, that
hearing.
last one, hearing. There we go.
What?
Yeah, hearing and listening. We got to work on those ones, right? But yeah, so in a general sense, snake senses work very similar to ours, but their organs are going to be a little different. So I like to start off with the eyes. Those are kind of front and center on his head and on our head. So snake eyes have that clear cornea. The light enters into them just like it were to ours, goes to the back, the retina that interfaces with the brain, processes what they see. However, researchers suggest that snakes can't see but just a little bit in front of them. That's not the sense that they rely most heavily on. Now, humans were apex predators. Our eyes are forward facing. The fields of vision overlap, so we have what's called binocular vision, gives us depth perception. Snakes rely on other senses that we'll talk about. However, the really cool thing about the snake's eye, which if I turn him right here, maybe you'll notice he has no movable eyelids. So whereas we as humans can wink and blink, snakes cannot. Now they have a modified eyelid, but it's a clear scale called an eye cap or spectacle. So you'll never win a staring contest with a snake, Chris, as hard as you try. Now, hearing was one that you mentioned, and if we take a look at the side of the head, or maybe you saw there before, snakes don't have any obvious ears or ear holes, right? But that doesn't mean that they can't hear. Snakes are actually using the bones of their skull and their jaw to detect the vibrations and then send information to the inner ear and back to the brain to sense what they're feeling. Because if you think about it, the head is what is in contact with the ground a lot, so as they move around. It's actually very interesting. The bone in their jaw that allows them to have such a wide gape when they swallow prey developed into one of the inner ear bones of mammals. So I love that kind of evolutionary link. Now, smell and taste. In humans, those go hand in hand. Think about if you've ever had a bad cold and you can't smell very well. Any of those broths and chicken soups that you are eating, they don't taste very well because those 2 senses for us interact and create flavors. For snakes, they have nostrils. You can see his little nose holes there. And they do have a tongue, which he's happening to flick out right there on my hand. So his nostrils are used only for breathing. He's going to be able to take air in. Snakes have lungs. They only have 1 lung. Many of them do. The other one is a vestigial organ. So noses are for breathing. Tongues are for smelling. Snakes will move that forked tongue out in the environment, grab little odor molecules, and then they put it back into the roof of their mouth. Again, the brain is detecting what it senses, and that forked nature will actually help the snake interpret which direction he should move. So if he senses food on one side, he'll move to that side. But if he senses danger on one side, he will move away from that side. The last sense is going to be touch, and it's pretty obvious. Snakes don't have any hands, right?
What?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So humans, our sense of touch is really all over our body, but it's highlighted and centralized in our hands. That's how humans interact with the world. Even though snakes don't have hands or feet or other type of skin to be able to detect, their body can detect pressure, a little bit of fine touch. So he can feel me here now. If I were to touch on his back, he senses that something is happening to him. And as snakes are moving their bodies over the environment, different textures, different temperatures, they can sense all of that as well. So snakes are sensational, Chris. They just do it a little different than we do.
All right. Well, Lindsey Gallagher, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And teaching us all about the snake. Appreciate you coming on.
I love it.
All right. Well, don't go away because we have more when we return.